One of the big things you're going to have in this method of participative audience response is you're inviting them to what? Respond. What's the word?
Respond.
And therefore, you're going to get a lot more questions. A lot more what?
Questions.
And you're going to ask a lot more what? Questions. Yes?
Yes.
All right. The easiest way to do this probably is to go to, let's say, page 12. Let me educate. Let's go to page 9 first. Page 9, it's going to be 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that's your question answering template. Now there's two kinds of question answers. The first one is who's answering the question? Who? No, the first one is you're answering the question. Who's answering? Say, I am.
I am.
Who's answering? I am. Great. The second one is who's answering the question? Somebody else in the audience is answering the question. And we're going to give you a format for both. Now, let me first give you the beauty of this. Because especially if you can, like, for example, one person stands up, they ask a question, and then you're going to say what? Does anyone have an answer to that question? Yes? Someone else is going to stand up and they're going to give an answer. You might say good answer. You might say not so good answer. You say, does that answer your question? And we're going to go into that right now. But at this point in time, assuming that that's a format that we use, what have you just discovered about how much you actually have to know in this seminar? You need to know, does anyone have an answer to that question? You need to know how to do that. If you can do that, you can teach on any subject. You understand what I'm saying here? You can facilitate any subject because you're just facilitating the learning that's coming from the audience. Understand? So those of you who are afraid, oh my God, what if I don't know the answer to the question? Good. Who cares if you know? You got 200 people, you got 20 people, you got 2 people in front of you who do know. Or they have a guess. Or if you don't know, you say, it's not something that I'm familiar with right now, but I can find out for you. Or I'll do my best. Simple. You don't have to try and be something you're not. But you know what? Here's one of the rules of thumb. Your audience is smart. They have skills and understandings that you have no clue about. And all you have to do is ask. I'll give you an example. Raise your hand if you were one of those people that when I said, what's the importance of nuclear physics to society, you went, I know all about nuclear physics. Look, I don't even know how to spell it. I have to look at it every time. I'm nuclear, okay. And look at these guys. These guys are experts. Raise your hand if I talked about aeronautics, that type of thing. If that's your bag, right? What if I talked about physics, if that's your bag here? What if I talk about math? That's your bag, math, okay. What if I talk about negotiations? That's your bag over here. You see? I don't have to know anything. Someone asked a question about the negotiations. Excellent. Who's got an answer about negotiations over here? Yes. And your answer is? Great. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Give them both a hand. Next. I'm going to show you how to do this. All right. So we're going to start with, because you're a facilitator, yes? Doesn't matter. You don't have to own the answers. But we're going to start with you answering the questions. So the first thing that has to happen is what? Usually, if there's a question's going to come up, or you're going to ask for any questions. Now, when do you ask, are there any questions? At the end of a section, usually. Yes? Find out what's going on. Now, how often do you ask that question? You can ask it on an ongoing basis, or you can ask it based on your amount of what? Time that you've got and the structure that you've got. So it's a very good thing to ask, for example, if let's say you're running very quick and you want to open it up and get some more discussion, you ask, are there any questions? It's a very, very bad question to ask if you're running tight on time. Because your class sharing is going to handle it anyways. Yes? Yes or no? Yeah. But when you invite, are there any questions, you're going to get people responding. Now, there are a lot of programs similar in vein who really their whole program is based on people asking questions. True or true? There's some of them I took about 4 or 5 years ago. Some people asked me if I was a forum trainer. And I'd never taken forum, which is an offshoot of EST. Raise your hand if you heard of that. EST or forum. Okay. Very good course. But it's all process-based program. So what happens is they give you a little exercise, you're a little writing something, then they have somebody stand up and the instructor processes you for half an hour, and then somebody else stands up and processes them for half an hour, and that's the morning. Then the next step, in the afternoon is the same thing. Then in the morning they give you a little exercise to do at night, and they say, who'd like to share the answer to the exercise, or are there any questions? Someone puts their hand and asks a question. And that's the day. You know? Next day. I have questions, right? And they have questions, right? So they just take what's there and field it, yes? Very, very simple way of processing. So we start. Are there any questions? Or we see a hand up. Now, what's the next thing we're going to do? It tells you right there. What's it say? Choose the person that you have in mind. I mentioned already why you do that. Why do you do that? So you don't have to turn your back on them necessarily, right? Now, again, let's have it come from this side. So someone on that side, raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Good. Now, I see it come from that side. Where am I going? I'm going to go over here, right? I'm going to go right there. I'm going to check in over here. Now, you don't have to do the hand motions if you don't want to, but I like to. So I just go like this, and then you just go like that. Now, everybody's included, right? And I go yes. And if I want to stand up, I go yes. If I have to say stand up, I say, yes, please stand up. But I usually keep my hand out here for a little bit. Don't keep it out there forever, because it looks stupid. Yes, what can I help you with? Yes? Oh, yes, yeah, very, very good, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about. This is what happens. People get, they call it stiff arm, all right? Stiff arm. No, you don't want stiff arm. So you go, yes, over here, answer the question, and just be normal with the person. Yes? Now, you don't also have to kind of like try and keep everybody in play. Once you've got that handle, you're going to do the best you can and just be right over here. Got it? Yes or no? Yes. Somebody high five and say, I got it. I got it. Now, if you are in a substantial room and there's no mic, then what's the principle? You're going to have to what? Make sure the question has been what? Heard by who? Everyone. So you're going to ask, is there anybody who what? Didn't hear the question? Now let's say there's only two people in front of you, and it's very obvious they heard it. Are you going to ask that question? No, you don't look like an idiot, right? Just be sensible. Let's say there's a microphone, and everybody obviously heard it. Are you going to ask the question? No. Probably will. Why? Because you think everybody heard it. People don't listen, exactly. So you'll say, if there's quite a few people, you almost always say, did everyone hear the question? Or it's better to say, did anybody not hear the question? Okay? And then you're going to do what? You're going to have them restate the question. Or you can do it the other way. You say, you don't get into any of that stuff, and you simply say, did everyone hear the question, or did anybody not hear the question? The question was, da, 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 da. And you paraphrase it, or you restate it. Or you just restate it. But you've got to make certain, the principle is what? The question has been what? Heard by who? Everybody. So that's the next piece. So step number one is what? Getting the question, moving off to the side. Step number two is what? Making certain that what? Very good. Making certain that the question was heard. Next step is what? Exactly. So now you're going to acknowledge it, and how you acknowledge it, you say what? Thanks for the question, or you say good question, or excellent question, or that's a very appropriate question, or whatever you're feeling. But acknowledge that the question has come. All right? Now, so when you're repeating the question, by the way, where are you going to go? Middle. Back to the middle, right? And then you're going to be acknowledging it. So you acknowledge it, then you repeat it, and then you answer the question. Now, where are you going to go to answer the question? Back to the side there. And so you're going to answer the question and say, well, from my perspective, the answer to that question is blah, 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 blah. Now what are you going to say? You're going to seal it. What does seal mean? Close it. So you're going to say, does that what? Does that answer your question? Where am I? I'm still talking to one person, right? So I'm still on the side. Does that answer your question? And they go, yes. And then what do I do? Back to the middle, and then what? Then I say, and give them a hand, please. Right? Thank you for the question. Give them a hand. Great. Super. Simple? Right. Okay. There's not laws around this, but this is the basic format here that you've got. Okay. Now, the next part of this would be if they were answering, if the audience was answering the question. Okay. So hand goes up over here, please. Good. Coming over here. Check in over here, move it over there. I go, yes. They go, blah, 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 blah. Let me hear you. Just them over there. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Great, good. Now what's the next thing it tells me to do? Yes, I'm going to go, did everyone hear the question? Or did anyone not hear the question? Good. Could you please repeat the question? Excellent. Did everyone hear the question this time? Usually they say yes. If not, you say, the question was blah, 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 blah. Yes? Make sure everybody got it. It's no big deal. Just make sure everybody got it. Then what's going to happen? Now I want someone else to answer it. Where am I now? Okay, I'm in the middle. I'm going to say, who would like to answer that question? Where's my hands? Okay, who would like to answer that question? And now someone over here raise your hand. Good, thank you. So now I see it over here. I'm going to go over here, and I go, yes, thank you. Okay, and your answer is what?
Blah, 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 blah.
Excellent. Did everyone hear the answer? Excellent, good. Now what happens? I say, thank you, good answer. Or I might say, that's an answer. Does anyone else have an answer? Excellent, good. Over here, yes, and your answer is? Excellent, thank you, wonderful. Then I'll go what? Does that, look at me, I'm backing up already. Does that answer your question? Now, if they say yes, you say what? Give them all a hand. Don't go give him, give her, give her. Give them all a hand. If there's only two people, give them both a hand. The questioner and the answer, yes? And if the person says no, they didn't answer the question, say, does anyone else have the answer? And if there's still nothing going on, either you can answer it or you have to have them reframe the question or something because it's not coming through. Or if you don't have any answers at all, say, you know what, it doesn't look like anybody's got the answer to that right now. Why don't you see me at the break or at lunchtime? Or we'll do our best to find out and get back to you. Fair enough? Yes? Great. Give them both a hand. Good. Yeah, come on. Very nice. So all that's happening is instead of me answering, you're going to take it from the audience. You're going to move the opposite way of wherever that is. Yes? And you're going to let them answer it, and you're still going to acknowledge people. So there's very few simple rules. You're making sure everybody is heard, right? First, you're opening the room. Second, you're making sure everybody's heard, making sure everybody's acknowledged. And that's it. Moving, so opening the room, making sure everybody's heard, make sure everybody's acknowledged. You answered a good question. Fair enough? Yeah. When you're talking to one person, where are you? When you're talking to one person, where are you? Off to the side. When you're talking to everybody, where are you? In the middle. Generally, if you're talking to one person, your hands are closer like this. If you're talking to everybody, your hands are like this. That's all. Opening it up. Yes? Yes. Okay, good. Y'all got this? Yes. I hope so.